One of the things we usually ask the wrestlers we get on here, and we can kind of tweak the question to you a little bit from the other side. We'll ask some of the wrestlers that we get, what goes into deciding to take a booking from a company that you've never worked for before? So here we are. Now we're talking with the promoter. What goes through your head when you're booking a talent, and especially a fresh talent you've never worked before? What kind of like criteria goes through your head as you're reaching out to these talents, or as they're reaching out to you? Like, talk to me a little bit about that process from your side of things.
So, and again, I don't think we've ever left anyone unanswered. So every promoter is different. So I cannot tell you how everyone does it. I can tell you how I do it.
Of course.
Number one is, don't send us a ridiculous email, or I'm not watching 12 of your matches because you have 12 different gears. Don't send us a 45-minute Ironman match. We're not getting through that. And by the way, if it was an acclaimed 45-minute Iron match, I probably already saw it. So like you don't need to, but the please and thank yous, be respectful, understand that like we are reading it, but we are reading it like just any company. You're reading with a pile of resumes, right? Mm-hmm. Stand out a little bit, be kind, be reasonable. I can't tell you how many people we've sent when we sent the Ring of Opportunity, knowing that there's like thousands of wrestlers who come to Vegas. How many people are just like, I just need transportation, and we're like, why would we book anyone who's not in Vegas? Like, you're not going to be there. Or some people said to us, like, what after we were like, we're going to put you on the maybe list. What day is your show? Why did you? It's like applying for a job and you're like, applying a technology job. And you're like, do I need to know how to use a computer? And they'd be like, yes, you need.
You kind of need to know.
You need to know. So There's some of those. There's not a lot, but like, be realistic. Understand who you are. Understand where you are in your regular card, right? So like, you really have to know yourself. I think wrestlers. I've proposed this to other people. Like, there needs to be a business sort of convention for wrestlers to help them. Depending on who their training is, they either sometimes they get great advice, sometimes they don't, or they and everyone has different social skills, and so ultimately the key is lead with kindness, keep it realistic, keep it somewhat short and reasonable. And then, we'll never book anyone unless we either know them or someone vouched for them. Okay. So understand, like, we are likely going to reach out to a promoter or your head promoter. Like, if you're listed at a company, and you're on show, right, we'll reach out to someone you've worked with, which means treat everyone with kindness, because you don't know who's giving you that recommendation or that reference.
Yeah.
Especially
like you said, just like a job application.
What?
I said, like you said, just like a job application, how there usually are references, like who can we contact that's worked with you before that can vouch for you.
Exactly. So that's sort of that's our first steps. And then ultimately, like, when someone, if there is someone, like, I'm not going to use the person's name, but there's someone right now who we really love working with. I don't really have much for them to do, and they don't really fit so much our vibe in the way I see it. Mm-hmm. But I love having this person in the locker room. This person is booked. This person would like to be booked on every show. This person's booked on like a couple shows a year. And so, like, then the conversation is, how do we present you what do you bring to Second Wrestling that I don't have? So, Kevon, I'm going to give you this example. He did all of those things. Great reference with Hornswoggle. He was polite, was realistic. He's responsive. He, like, don't leave if you're looking for work, don't leave your stuff unread, right? Yeah. He was professional backstage. He was smiling. He gave me a great match. And the guy has a look. He's a big dude. He looks like he looks like he played in the NFL. Like, he's a big dude. So, like, he gave me something yesterday that we didn't necessarily have so much on our roster, at least not regularly. So, like, I can find work for him now. Like anytime I want a big man match, I've got another big guy to use, So I think there's the last piece is sort of timing and circumstantial, which is like, do you fit with what we need or work at that time? And lastly, we do our best to reward people that show up. So we have this belt called the Go-Go Championship. So Sam Eli is the current champion. It's changed hands a good amount of time. It's a pre-show booking. So if you're the champion, you're guaranteed to be. I mean, as long as there's a pre-show, there are some shows that aren't pre-shows, but for the most part, there are pre-shows. And so, if you're the champ, you're automatically booked. And if you don't know, and we pick from the people who come and help. That's how we plan that match. We do plan. The champion is there, and the champion does not know if they will be champion the next night. All they know is that they're defending that title against someone who shows up. And when that person shows up and helps, we then look at the group. Sometimes we make it a 4-way, sometimes it's a 3-way, sometimes it's a single. It's really sort of like maybe I ask a couple guys, this person, sometimes, and so if I'm being honest, the best thing you can do to get into a company that you want to work for, and MJF has notoriously talked about this too, is to show up and help out and wait your turn and be an asset any way you can. So Celeste, who is a freelance wrestler, freelance is the training school. She showed up last show. She got the pre-show match yesterday. Jocelyn unfortunately canceled. We needed a female. Celeste was there. I've seen her wrestle. She got on the main card last night.
Nice.
That's
So
awesome.
that's how, and we're like that. And then you got to know the promoter. Like, we've had guys reach out to us for this, hey, I'd love to come work for you. We have always wanted to be out in Vegas. And I was like, we're a Chicago company. Like, we're not they're not, you've got to know who do some research. You can certainly find out who the promoters are in every company you reach out to. And some guys just don't do that. They say I'm hustling because I sent out emails. But if we've had guys reach out, passport ready. I said, where are we running our shows? Where do you think we run our shows? And if there's an international tour that wants to book us, we are definitely interested. But we don't need a passport.
Stuff like that. I mean, somebody didn't read the description of the job before they applied.
Yeah.
Exactly. And some people think it's just like send out as many emails, and they'll be like, it's I do the same email. I'm like, no, you need to tailor your email to the promoter, because know something about them. Hey, saw you on this podcast. Hey. They're all it's not that difficult. Some that are, there's some are, but once you start working enough bookings, talent talks about the different companies, so they should know who the promoters are.
You gotta know how to stand out. It's like those resume classes they teach you. You gotta make your resume stand out. So it's the same thing. Stand out.
And by the way, this is a small percentage. Like, a lot of people are respectful, and they're even if they're generic in a way that aren't laughable. And the hustle is real. But like, if you look at MJF's career, now obviously he's an insanely talented human being, but if you look at his story about how he slowly moved to get to the companies he wanted to be with and made the drives and built, and that's how you do it. And there's other ways to do it. You could just be the greatest athlete in the world. You could look like $1 billion off the bat. Like, there are other ways to do it, but like, this is what I think, like, this is what's really good about the WWE ID program, is that it is helping. It is advocating to people to say, hey, there is a minor league, for lack of a better term, to get you in the door at the biggest company. Now grind and get there.
Yeah.
Right. Because not everyone is as gifted as Seth Rollins.
Totally.
No.
So to follow up to that, like, I'm trying to get in the mind of a booker. Like, when you have certain cards in mind, or you're gonna think like ahead of time, do you cater or think of certain wrestlers that you want to be on there? Because like you're here in the music industry, they write songs with certain artists in their head, even though sometimes it might not get to that certain artist, and then it goes to somebody else, and either way it comes out a banger. So do you ever like think of cards with certain people in mind, but then someone cancels last minute or someone isn't available, so you were like, I still think it'll fit to this person, so let me reach out to them, and then it comes together regardless?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, we start with the main event usually, and title matches, and also draws, and then we fill in. We always keep in mind like who our regulars are. So every company has, I would say, their regulars. I think we have about 6 people right now booked on pretty much every show for the end of the year, unless they were already booked or they have their sister's wedding or something, something like that.
Yeah.
But we have about 6 people like that, and some have more. But since we don't have a school, like 6 is a good round number for us. Okay. And then we base the card across those 6 first, starting with who we believe will, and there's obviously things that change. Injuries can take you in a different direction. Opportunities, Russ Hamilton was originally announced for this show, and unfortunately for us, he got a really big opportunity, so he had to take that. So, and we, he gave us enough time. It wasn't, we knew, but yeah, he was respectful. So, there's so you have contingency plans. We are blessed that we are in Chicago, and that obviously Chicago itself, we can pull from Wisconsin, we can pull from Minnesota, we pull from St. Louis, Indianapolis, and we have Michigan a little bit, but we've now started pulling a little bit more from Cleveland, which has a really hot scene right now. Some of the names that the car loads that we can now pick up, Sam Holloway, Sam Beal, Kid Arquette, Derek Dillinger, Wes Barkley. There's some real talent out there. Yeah.
Those are some real talented names.
Yeah. Now, before I go, I need a favor. I know you I told you on the pun and the joke guy and the punchline guy. Could you please book a triple threat match between a rabbi, a priest, and a minister? Just so I can be like, what happens when a priest, a minister, and a rabbi walk into a wrestling ring?
I don't know about the minister. I don't know about a minister.
It has to be in a bar.
We play a show every January at St. Demetrius Church, and the fans go crazy when the priest and I are in the ring. It is. And we take pictures. And this year we had Colt at the show, and he was fanboying out, and it was awesome. And I was like, Father, it's like, the priest, the rabbi, and Colt Cabana, right? That's the closest we're gonna get, right? So they're so great. It's a rowdy group. But I will say this: they invited me to Greek Fest. I am not like I don't know so much about Greek Catholicism and all that stuff. I do want to go to church. I've told them it's not that easy because Sunday I have we have things here, but I said I was like, you guys know how to eat, and one thing Jews know how to do is eat, and we should figure out how to really think about it. The bagel and the spanakopita have never come together, and that could be
man,
that could be something.
Food
maybe I'll work on that.
We have to do a watch along, JJ, just so I can make that joke if he books that triple threat.
Oh, we're doing a watch along.
So I'll tell you a quick story. We have a guy who sits up a ring and sometimes wrestles for us. And we were talking yesterday. I asked him if he was going to be out in Vegas. And fortunately for him, he got some bookings out of town, not in Vegas, so he's not going.
Yeah.
And he said, but I told someone the rabbi's going to call him. I was like, you told him the rabbi? Like, did you? He goes, why'd you just call him the promoter? He goes, I go, wait. And then I said, wait, ... Is the rabbi in wrestling, the rabbi promoter, a rabbi in wrestling a thing? He goes, it's absolutely a thing. People, when I said that, people know what we're talking about. Like that's random people. I'm like, this is a thing now? I don't know. Well, whatever. I'll take it. Whatever sells tickets.